Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Oh, guys, maybe it's not even evening where you are watching. Who knows what time it is with this crazy internet thing. So what I want to talk about now is the potential Iranian response to the known Israeli response, because these guys are going tit for tat. The Middle East is just absolute carnage at the moment. Guys, before we get into that, can you like and subscribe and click the buttons down below? There's a bell and a subscribe and some thumbs up and all that sort of cool stuff. Anyway, so lots on the mainstream media at the moment about potential targets that Israel is going to strike in Iran. All over the news. I've done this. I've told you I think they're going to strike something on the south coast because that's gonna, that's gonna levy in, more ammunition, more weight, and more capacity for a amphibious invasion, and it's going to test those regions around there. Also, I think it'll be done by F-35s as well, because the Americans, Lockheed Martin, basically will want to be testing out their F-35s against real-world targets. That kind of information and that kind of, strategic test, it really is invaluable for those producers. Anyway, what I want to talk about now is the Iranian response. How are the Iranians going to respond? And I think, like I say on all my channels, all the information's already out there. All this stuff's already been said. All we need to do is cherry pick the wheat from the chaff and understand what's real, understand what's fake news, understand what's misinformation, disinformation, and decide what's going to happen. So let's understand what they've done before. So normally the Iranians just fire a shit ton of missiles at the Israelis and hope for the best. This will be coupled with drones that take longer, and then the missiles, obviously they travel a lot faster. So normally you'd set off the drones first, there'd be a drone strike. The Iron Dome would start to intercept the drones, really expensive for the Iron Dome to intercept the drones. And then once the Iron Dome malfunctions, when it runs out of munitions, that's when the big boys come, that's when the rockets come. Historically, over the last couple of years, the Iranian attacks on Israel have been kind of embarrassing for the Iranians, and I don't think anybody could argue with me there. They've not really achieved their goals. They've not really achieved much apart from cost the Iranians a lot of money and, wasted a lot of missiles that could be used on better targets. The Israeli defense is too strong. The conventional defense is too strong. So what do we know then? What have they said? Well, from an article, I think that was today. Yeah, today. And this was from I believe it was from the foreign minister. I'm going to try and pronounce his name, guys. In fact, I'll share this with you so you can read it too. And maybe I'm butchering his name, but you know what? That's not one of my languages I speak, so I don't make any apologies. So here we are. So this guy here, Tehran's foreign minister, and I think his name is Abbas Aragache. Abbas Aragache. Let's just call him Abbas. Let's just call him Abbas. That's cool. So, he's saying that Iran will respond decisively if Israel attacks. So decisively, what does decisively mean? Kind of means quickly. So what can they do quickly? We know they can't do missile strikes because they're not significant. They're not relevant anymore. These long-range missile strikes from Iran, it's a long way that these missiles have to go. They're telegraphed. You can see them coming. They're easily intercepted. So I don't think a missile strike is even on the cards. So what else have they said then in the past? So if you remember, when the spat happened, but basically when the Israelis said, yeah, we're going to strike you, after the pager attack, and they did the missile attack, they said, yeah, we're definitely gonna strike you. But they said, we are going to strike you, warns of a unconventional response in case of new Israeli attack. So they're talking about a decisive, unconventional response. That's what they're saying, guys. That's out there. And they're articles I've gone to because I understand what the pretext means. So an unconventional decisive response. So let's think about this. Unconventional is synonymous with non-conventional. It's synonymous with asymmetric. It's synonymous with grey warfare. It's synonymous with guerrilla warfare. We already know that in the West, all over the West, there are, my lights just come on, that was weird. We already know in the West, there are all sorts of sleeper cells, all sorts of cells of potential enemies, you know, that have come, we know this, you know, that have come over as refugees, as asylum seekers, as migrants, whatever you want to call it. Basically, if you're in the United Kingdom, a lot of these people have got on boats, they've come over, and we just don't know who they are. Now, I would say that it's not vast speculation to say maybe one or two of these, or 3 or 4, or maybe a couple of thousand of these are sleeper cell agents. Now, what is that? What do we mean by a sleeper cell agent? We've all seen these movies where, you know, we've got, what's the movie I'm thinking of? Is it the Manchurian Project? No, it's the one with, Angelina Jolie where she's, I want to say it's got Brad Pitt in it, but it's not. Sorry, guys. Sorry, I'm totally off on a tangent. The movie with Angelina Jolie, it's called Salt, and she's Agent Salt, and she's like some Russian sleeper agent, and she's waiting to be activated, but there's a twist because it's not really her, it's the guy who she was anyway. That's kind of what we think about when we think of Russian sleeper agents, or, you know, or a sleeper agent. The reality is it's quite a lot less dramatic. So let me just share an article with you from, I think this article is from 2019. The date's not really, I will share these in the links below. The date's not really relevant. So where do we start? So I'll just start midway and you'll understand why. So the most alarming case took place in the United States and Canada. According to US prosecutors, 2 US-based Hezbollah, IGO, I don't know what that stands for, IGO operatives, Kali Kurani and Samir El-Dabak, were tasked with carrying out pre-operational surveillance for potential Hezbollah attacks in the United States and Panama. Guys, I would say that this has been happening in the United Kingdom, in Europe, in the West. I would say this has been happening at an alarming rate for the past 10 years, probably even longer. You know, at least I think it'll have been ratcheted up. You know, and these things will be happening at an alarming rate. Remember, these people don't even need to know that they are, you know, they are working for a state government. These people don't need to know who they're working for or where the money's coming from. They don't even need to know what they're doing. Right now, I'm going to use the UK as an, I'm going to use the UK when I'm describing this as a template, but this template fits anywhere. It fits in Europe, it fits in the United States, it fits in Canada, Australia, New Zealand, anywhere that accept vast amounts of migrants who are unchecked, undocumented, young, fighting age males. This applies to you. So basically, that's your workforce. You now have a shit ton of people in hotels, in wherever. And the fantastic thing about this is these are being paid. We're paying for this ourselves. So we're paying for these guys to come here and conduct reconnaissance on us. It's fantastic. Like, it is fantastic. From the Iranians, from the Russians, whoever's funding this. And again, those two countries now are interchangeable. Their military cooperation, their industrial cooperation, it's interchangeable. And guys, you know, when I sit here and I say it's fantastic and it's a brilliant tactic, it is. It's not good for us because, you know, we're the general public, we're the civilian population. We are the attackees, or are we the attackers? I don't know, guys. You guys tell me what I mean. But, you know, we're the ones who are going to be attacked. So it's not good for us. But as you know, from the Russian side of these things, or the Iranian side of these things, it's an absolutely fantastic target. Can you imagine now when the Vladimir Putin and the supreme leader of Iran, they're like, what's that movie, Scarface, when they're on when there's Tony Montana and he's on the phone to the guy in Colombia, and there's like that push it to the limit music, and they're laughing on the phone going, That's kind of what Putin and the supreme leader will be doing right now. They'll be like, and he'll be like, what, you actually got them to pay for it? And he's going, da, Kanishna, they are paying out of their own taxes. They don't have enough money to fund their own old people, but they keep paying our soldiers to go live in their country. And the supreme leader is going, oh, Vladimir, no, he may speak with a Russian accent, I don't know. Oh, Vladimir, your tactics are so brilliant. KGB guys, #1. It's ridiculous. But obviously, from this article that I've just read, and I'll share in the description, this is documented now. These people will be, and a lot of them, they won't know they're working for the Russians. They won't know they're working for the Iranians. They'll just know they're getting paid to do something. Now, this will, when we move forward, and I've done so many videos about this, about sabotage, about attacks, about potential attacks, about next level attacks, about what's coming next. And I have a good success rate. So what I think the next phase of this will be as well, I think the next phase of this will be these people now identifying vulnerable politicians. And by vulnerable, I mean politicians that have a weakness, whether that weakness is gambling, they've got a mistress on the side, they've got a boyfriend on the side, and then you can exploit those politicians like that. Let's not forget, most politicians are, I don't want to use the word corrupt. The system is inherently corrupt. So politicians go into a corrupt system, and by corrupt, I mean, we vote for a member of parliament for our region, and then that member of parliament is then to represent us. But the problem is, if that member of parliament then represents us and disrepresents their own party, they get kicked out of the party. So it's kind of, the whole system's corrupt by its construct. That sounds pretty cool. You should have that on like a t-shirt or a hat or something. Anyway, so that's what I think the next phase of this is going to be. And we have so many people now in our country that it could be I think what could happen is, when Israel strikes these targets, the supreme leader, the Iranians, the Russians, whoever, it doesn't matter, they could start to activate sleeper cells. Now, what stage they're going to activate these sleeper cells, what kind of strikes these guys are going to do, I don't know at this point. I would say this would be a level 1. So this would be level 1. You would then target the politicians and influential people. Level 2, I think, would be mass sabotage. Level 3, I think, would be all-out war. So, let's just keep on those levels. And we'll see what level we're at when this next escalation that happens. So that's the gist of the video, guys. They're the things that I think are going to happen. I think the Iranian response is going to be non-conventional because they've told us it is. I think sleeper cells are going to be activated. I think they're going to be activated on the first level, which will be targeting people, politicians, and influential people, targeting them with what's the word I'm looking for? Intimidation, basically. They'll be going up to them and intimidate them. Just imagine you've got some woman MP and she holds a critical seat in I don't know, I'm just speculating here, guys. Let's just say you've got an old MP and their seat is in a place where there's a huge arms manufacturing company. Do you think it would be easy to intimidate that person into doing things that you want? Or do you think you could find out where their kids go to school? And this is the sort of nasty stuff that the IRGC, that's what they do. The Iranian Revolutionary Guard, that's what they do. Do we think that the Russians don't use this type of espionage, blackmail? Of course they do. it's industry standard. So that's what I think is coming. And I think we're going to see a response decisively, quickly, as soon as the Israelis strike the targets in Iran. I think personally they're going to strike targets on the south coast because I've told you many times before that's going to be a pretext for an amphibious invasion. Guys, time will tell. I think it's going to come this Friday. Let me know what you guys think. I should probably put that as the thumbnail. What should I put as the thumbnail? Should I put do you know what? I think I should put sleeper cells activated Friday because I think that's fair. If we're talking about, I think, yeah, let's go with that. I think the Iranian strike has to kind of go in this weekend, if not this Friday at the earliest. And then if we look at what the Iranians have said they're going to act decisively. And I think sleeper cells are going to be activated. So, yeah, I think that's a fair thumbnail. Sleeper cells activated Friday. Yeah, I think that's fair. Anyway, guys, I'm going to mactograde and I'll get you guys another video later. That's my speculation, guys. It may or may not happen.